I'm going to save you 2 years of throwing spaghetti at the wall with your marketing. You're welcome. Most people don't have a tactic problem. They're not failing because they picked the wrong hashtag or they haven't started Reels yet. They're struggling because nobody ever gave them a solid marketing foundation to build on. And without that foundation, everything else, the content, the ads, the email lists, all of it, it's just expensive guesswork. So today we're going through the actual fundamentals of marketing in a way that makes sense for people like you and like me, not Fortune 500 brands. So what actually is marketing? Marketing is every strategy, action, and system you use to achieve your business goals. That could mean getting more clients, building your reputation, growing your audience, or launching a brand new offer. All of it falls under marketing. Marketing is the umbrella. Now, here's the thing that trips a lot of people up. Marketing and advertising are not the same thing. Advertising is actually just one piece of marketing. Think of marketing like a whole pizza, and advertising is just one slice of that, but you still need the rest of the pizza. And I bring this up because a lot of solopreneurs treat marketing like it's just running ads or posting on social media. But your pricing strategy is marketing. The way you onboard clients is marketing. The words on your website is marketing. The way you show up on a discovery call is marketing and sales. It's the whole system, not just the visible stuff. Think about HubSpot. They are a master class in marketing done right. They don't just run ads. They create free tools, they publish incredibly useful blog content, they offer free certifications, they even host events. Their entire business ecosystem is designed to attract the right people and build trust over time and then convert them into paying customers. The ads are just one small part of a bigger system. Now, you're not HubSpot, I'm not HubSpot. You're a solopreneur like me, or maybe you're a small team. But the principle is exactly the same. Every touch point someone has with you and your business is marketing. And when all of those touch points work together, that's when things start to click. And here's something worth saying out loud. Good marketing can absolutely make a business. And bad marketing or no marketing can absolutely break one. I've seen incredibly coaches and consultants with transformational offers completely invisible in the market because they never build a real marketing system. Don't let that be you. Now, we're going to get into something called the 4 Ps. But before we go there, I want to give you a simple process overview because that's the map we're going to keep coming back to for marketing. Step 1 is to analyze your current situation. Where are you right now? What are you offering? What have you tried? What's working and what is not working. Step 2 is to analyze your competition. Who else is serving your audience and what can you learn from them? Step 3 is to define your objectives. Where do you actually want to go and how will you know when you got there? Step 4 is to take action and implement your strategies. That's my favorite part. This is where the actual marketing happens. And step 5 is to monitor your metrics and optimize. This is the step most solopreneurs skip. And even in marketing, when I have junior people come on, they like to skip this step, and I do not let them skip it because it's so important. And here's a real world example of what happens when you skip step 5. A consultant I know was running LinkedIn content for almost an entire year. And they were posting consistently. They got some decent engagement and they felt good about it. But she had never once looked at which posts were actually driving people to her website or to her discovery calls. And she never looked at who was actually driving away. When we looked at her data together, we saw that the long form content, so those are the LinkedIn articles, the long posts, that was driving all the traffic to her sales pages and to her discovery calls. So all that small, short stuff she was doing wasn't actually working. So what we did, we got together, looked at the metrics, see what worked, and then we doubled down. She almost doubled her clients. This stuff works. You have to actually look at your numbers. All right, the 4 Ps of marketing and why they still matter. Yes, it's been around forever, but we still care about this. The 4 Ps have been around since 1960s. And I know that sounds ancient, but they're genuinely still one of the most useful ways to think about your marketing. The 4 Ps are product, price, place, and promotion. The first P is product, or in my case, probably in your case, it's the offer. For you, this isn't a physical thing sitting in a warehouse somewhere. It's your coaching program, your consulting package, your done-for-you service, your course, your membership, or whatever it is that you're selling. And here's what I see solopreneurs go wrong instantly. They describe their offer by what it is instead of what it does for the client. A 12-week coaching program with bi-weekly calls. That's what it is. But saying something like, finally having a client acquisition system that works while you sleep so you're not constantly in feast or famine mode, it is what it does. Which one makes you want to hand over your credit card? Yeah, you lead with a transformation every single time. A great example of this that's done extremely well is Spanx. Sarah Blakely didn't market footless pantyhose. She marketed the feeling of looking and feeling confident in your clothes. The product was the vehicle, the transformation was the point. And that distinction is exactly why Spanx became a billion-dollar brand. For your service business, think about it this way. If you're a business coach, you're not selling coaching sessions. You're selling the version of your client's business they've been trying to build forever, but couldn't figure it out themselves. If you're a marketing consultant, you're not selling a strategy deck. You're selling a full pipeline and the ability to finally stop worrying about where the next client is coming from. When you're defining your offer, here are the questions you actually need to be able to answer. What does your client's life or their business look like after working with you? What specific need or problem does your offer solve? What are the real benefits, not just the features, but the benefits? And how does your offer compare to other options your ideal client might be considering? The last one is important because your potential clients are comparing you to other options, whether you like it or not. This doesn't have to be some wild fancy thing. Sometimes it's your specific methodology. Sometimes it's your background and experience. Sometimes it's the very specific type of person you work with and the very specific result you help them get. But you need to be able to say it clearly and confidently. Also worth thinking about your offer's life cycle. Is this something people buy once? Is it recurring? Is there a natural next step after they complete it? Mapping this out now helps you build a business that doesn't require you to constantly find brand new clients from scratch, which is exhausting and frankly unsustainable. Think about how Sephora does it. Their Beauty Insider loyalty program has 3 tiers. You start at the base level, and as you spend more money, you unlock better rewards, bigger discounts, exclusive access. And I've bought way too much from Sephora. They've mapped out a customer journey that keeps people coming back for more and for more. And that makes them spend more over time instead of just like a one-time purchase and then disappearing. And you can absolutely do this in your service business. A starter offer that leads to a signature program that leads to a higher level retainer. That's your offer cycle. The second P is price. Pricing is one of the most emotionally loaded topics in our world. And I say that as someone who has helped a lot of people work through it. I've had to work through it myself. There's so much fear and even sometimes guilt and some weird energy around pricing. It's honestly wild because pricing is just a business decision. So let's do that. Let's talk about it practically. Your price needs to account for several things. Your actual costs, your time, your tools, your overhead. The profit margin you need to run a sustainable business, basically. The value that you deliver to the client is giant in this. And then what the market will actually pay. And your positioning. Where do you want to sit in the market? Do you want to be a budget brand? Do you want to be a luxury brand? Do you want to be somewhere in between? Here's the thing about value-based pricing that most people underestimate. When you help someone sign 5 new clients or finally get their marketing working, or they lost all the weight that they wanted to lose, that outcome has a real dollar value. Your price should reflect a meaningful fraction of that value, not just your hourly rate multiplied by the number of calls on your calendar. A good example here is McKinsey, the consulting group. Nobody hires McKinsey because they're the cheapest option in the room. They hire McKinsey because the perceived value in the market is that these people get it. Now, you and I aren't McKinsey. The principles don't apply here, but think about it. Let's say you're a business coach and you help your client get $50,000 in revenue and then you have a program that is $2,000 worth. That's almost insultingly low. You price for the value of the outcome, not the hours that you put in. And here's the psychological piece that people really don't talk about enough. Underpricing doesn't just hurt your bank account, it actually makes people trust you less. There's real consumer psychology behind this. A higher price signals higher quality and higher confidence in your own work. When you price too low, people wonder why. Like, they wonder what's wrong with you, and they wonder why they should be paying for this. And I'm not saying charge $1 million for everything. Again, this is why you look at the market and you look at your competitors. For my business, I would say 8 out of 10 people that come to me, they undercharge. Then there's always one that overcharges, and then there's one that's perfect. A really interesting example of pricing and the way that they looked at psychology is Apple. Apple is almost never the cheapest option in any category that they compete in. A comparable laptop or phone from any other brand almost always costs less. And yet, people line up, and they literally line up around the store. Because the price itself is part of Apple's brand signal. It communicates quality and status and confidence before the customer even opens that white little pretty box. And then when you're figuring out your pricing, ask yourself these questions. What does it actually cost me to deliver this offer, including my time? What profit margin do I need? What is the real value of the outcome I deliver? What are others in my space charging for similar results? And can I offer payment plans, early bird pricing, or seasonal promotions to make it more accessible without devaluing the core offer? The last point is worth expanding on. Discounts and promotions aren't just nice to have. They're strategic tools. A limited time bonus or an early bird pricing for a new program, a payment plan, that type of thing, that can actually take those people that are sitting on the fence and make them actually pay for your offer. You don't have to do this. This is something that you need to make a decision on. Is that right for your business or not? And then look at your competitors. If all of your competitors are doing that, then you probably should too. If none of them are doing that, don't do it. The third P is place. In traditional marketing, place is about distribution. Where can consumers buy the product? For a service business, it means where and how people find you, engage with you, and ultimately hire you. Is your primary channel LinkedIn? Is it your website? Is it referrals from past clients? Is it speaking gigs? Is it a podcast? Is it YouTube? The goal of your place strategy is to make it as easy as possible for your potential client to find you and then buy from you. You want them to be a client. And it needs to be frictionless, like super, super easy. If someone lands on your website and has to click through like 6 pages to figure out how to work with you, you're losing people. If you do discovery calls and your link is super hard to find, you are losing people. If your offers aren't clearly explained anywhere that people can easily find it, you're definitely losing people. Airbnb is a fantastic example. So before Airbnb, you had to go find hotels and then go through some clunky booking system. And it was just really, really messy. Airbnb made the whole thing simple, visual, and fast. They won not just because of the cool inventory, but because of how easy they made it to get that inventory. The experience of finding and booking was part of the product. Now think about your business. Is the experience of finding you and understanding what you do and then taking the next step easy? Or is there some kind of friction points? Think about every touch point in the journey from I just found this person to I just signed the contract. Where are the drop-off points? Where does it get confusing? Where does it get complicated? Those are the things that you need to fix first. The question to ask yourself here is, where do my ideal clients actually spend their time online and offline? How can I show up in those places consistently? How easy is it for someone to find me, understand what I do, and take the next step? And do I need a sales process? What is it? Is it a discovery call? Is it a web page? Is it a sales page? Or can people just buy directly? Are there channels you haven't thought about yet? Maybe industry events or guest appearances and that type of stuff. You can also get in front of other people's audience, right? You could co-author an email, for example. It's actually a real cool one because you're borrowing trust that someone else has already built with an audience that's already warm. That is genuinely one of the highest ROI moves available to a solopreneur, and most people actually sleep on it. It's a little intimidating to find somebody and ask them to do that. So what I usually like to do is I like to find somebody that's very on the similar level. So for example, at the time that I'm filming this video, I have 10,000 LinkedIn followers. So if I want to do like a co-promotion post, I'm going to find somebody that's in that same range. I'm not going to ask somebody that has 100,000 followers. They're not going to want to work with me. But I'm also not going to ask somebody that has 1,000 followers, because then that person is just going to benefit from me and I'm not going to benefit from them. So find somebody that's on the similar level as you. And the fourth P is promotion. This is the one that everyone jumps to first. And I totally get it because it's the most visible part of marketing. It's also my favorite. Post the content, run the ads, send the emails, get the clients. I know it sounds easy. But here's the thing. Promotion without the first three P's figured out is actually going to make it super harder for you to sell. You can create amazing content every single day, but if your offer isn't clear, your pricing is off, or the path that we talked about to working with you is totally confusing, the content is not going to save you. I've seen this play out so many times, and it is so painful to watch. A classic example of promotion misfiring because the foundation wasn't solid is that Fire Festival. Remember that? Massive influencer marketing campaign, incredible social media presence. Even the promotional content was like super gorgeous, and absolutely zero foundation underneath it. No real product, no infrastructure, no ability to deliver what they were actually promoting. And the promotion worked. It worked too well. The problem was everything else. Obviously, that's an extreme example, but the lesson there is real. Promotion amplifies what's already there, the good or the bad. On the flip side, look at GoPro, those GoPro cameras. Their promotion strategy is almost entirely built on user-generated content. They make it easy and exciting for the customers to share their own GoPro footage. And then they amplify that content across their own channels. The product is so good and so visual that the customers basically become the marketing department. And that's what happens when your offer, your pricing, your distribution, your promotion all work together like a beautiful system. For people like you and me, it's mostly like the content marketing that we do, where we play like YouTube, podcasts, our email marketing, and all that good stuff. So which platform we're on matters a lot depending on where the audience is on. Email marketing is criminally underused, and paid ads, if and when the timing is right, and partnerships and referral programs, they are all part of the promotion. I separated those out a little bit because ads cost money. Everything else I talked about was organic, you can do for free. And then also referral programs and partnerships, that's like a next step. I want to give you another example of a solopreneur doing this right. So this leadership coach I worked with, they totally focused on LinkedIn for 18 months, one platform. They did one post per day. It was consistent. The content made sense. They were looking at their metrics. They didn't have ads. They didn't have fancy stuff. They didn't do anything that was expensive. They just were doing one platform, one thing for a long period of time, and they were being consistent, and they were making money because they were showing up, people started trusting them, and then people bought from them. The question to ask yourself here is, how do I make my message reach the right people? Which channels are the most appropriate for your audience and for your offer? And when is the best time to promote? Is it like seasonal? Is it evergreen? And then of course, what metrics you need to look at to make sure you can improve upon that. And the 4 P's, they all work together as one big system. Here's what most marketing courses actually skip over, and I'm not going to skip over. The 4 P's, they're not 4 separate things. They literally work together as a system. And when one is wrong or off, the entire thing suffers. If your offer is unclear, your promotion won't convert. If your price doesn't match the perceived value of your offer, people will bounce even if they loved everything else. And if the path to hiring you is confusing, all your promotional efforts get wasted right at the finish line. This is why I always say, marketing is not a tactics problem, it's a systems problem. And the 4 P's give you a simple way to audit your whole system and find where the actual leak is. Nike is a great example of all 4 things working together perfectly. Their offer, premium athletic gear, is clearly defined around performance and aspiration. Their pricing signals quality and status. Their distribution is everywhere their customers are, from flagship stores to online to third-party retailers. And their promotion? Just do it, which everybody knows. It's emotional storytelling, and it's perfectly aligned with everything else that they're doing. Every single piece reinforces the other pieces, and that's the goal. And honestly, what worked 6 months ago might not be working right now. Build the habit of reviewing your 4 Ps every single quarter and then adjust accordingly. I want you to do something. I want you to write the stuff down, and I want you to do 1 sentence for each P. For product, what transformation do you deliver and what makes your offer different from others? For price, does your price really reflect the value that you deliver? Are you confident on your pricing? How easy is it for someone to go from discovering you to actually hiring you? And be honest. And then for promotion, are you showing up consistently in the places where your ideal client is at? If any of those sentences are hard to write, that is your starting point. That's where your marketing needs the most attention right now. Drop a comment. Let me know which one of these P's was your most difficult one to answer. I bet probably what's hard for you is hard for most of us. Once you know where your foundation is shaky, that's when you stop wasting energy on tactics that were never going to work anyways. And that is the fastest path to marketing that gets you clients. Check out the next video. We're going to keep learning. We're going to keep really figuring out what marketing is all about so you can get the clients and build the business that you deserve.